Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark.
Why are we doing this head thing?
Because it's early in the morning. And
it is so early.
We're just, you can tell that I haven't showered and shaved yet today. I would like to open by noting, so we have a little channel in our Slack called the Love Channel, where we just drop in little compliments that we see from other people to our staff members. And I did not drop in a compliment which I saw about you this week.
Tell me.
With someone who said, Sarah's hair looks amazing.
I did get a lot of comments on my hair. Thank you, guys. Thanks for noticing.
I didn't want to be lookist, but I just wanted to tell you that
Thank you.
People are noticing that your hair looks on point, as the kids say.
Let me just tell you, I get comments really across the board. Like, there's just, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Your hair looks good too, man.
I mean, what's left of it, sure.
The scruff on your face, love it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so we got a big show today, but we want to start with the news yesterday that Donald Trump has decided to spend $200 million on a new ballroom for the White House. I mean, I think it's lovely that Trump is turning the people's house, the White House, the place where ordinary citizens come to rule, into Uday and Qusay's presidential palace. I think that's just wonderful.
I bet Tim will think it's pretty.
I mean, I got a couple of questions for you. The stupid question is that are we not concerned with government waste and spending anymore? Is that no longer, like, we did stand up this whole department, DOGE, to cut the federal government's budget and its needless spending. And now we're spending $200 million on a ballroom, in addition to the $1 billion that we're going to spend on the jet that we have to take entirely apart and then put back together to make sure there are no listening devices on it.
What kind of a bribe is it for if Qatar gives us this jet? So he can take a bribe, but then we have to retrofit the whole thing, and it still costs the taxpayers $1 billion on top of all the money that the taxpayers have to spend on his golf games, on rooms at Mar-a-Lago, for the Secret Service to be there. This has been Trump's level of corruption. And this is where, when you talk about asymmetry, and this is the whole ball game, like, people should talk about this. This is the kind of stuff you scream and yell about, because it's the kind of stuff the right screams and yells about to great effect. I mean, even on the impeachments. I mean, one of the main arguments against impeachment was that it was costing people money.
They spent $1.5 million on this impeachment. Can you believe it? Huff, huff, huff. These fucking guys. I mean,
what are we going to do in a ballroom? Is he going to have balls?
I mean, he wants it to be Mar-a-Lago.
The Gilded Age?
He wants it to be Mar-a-Lago, right?
Yeah.
Then Mar-a-Lago has a ballroom, where they do weddings. Remember when he was out of power, there would be weddings and he would just show up on a Saturday night and like go up and take the mic and, hey, it's good to see you kids out there, right?
Complain about the election being stolen for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just the speech you want at your wedding.
I mean, frankly, if you're getting married at Mar-a-Lago, you probably do
that
want
is the speech you want.
Yeah.
That's true.
The other thing, though, is, and I'm going to wait till you finish and put that down because I don't want you to spit it all over your computer.
Am I going to spit out my water when you say this?
It is pretty clear to me that you don't do stuff like this if you plan on moving out.
That's a real JVL hit, right? First thing in the morning.
You do not say, I'm going to transform this thing into the northern version of my Florida compound where I can hold court indefinitely if you prepare on surrendering that to Wes Moore or somebody else in 4 years. I'm sorry. This is straight up. This is what dictators do, is they start building themselves presidential palaces. Like, you see this throughout the Middle East. Again, I just think this is alarming as a state of where his mind is. And Carolyn Leavitt was, I think her quote is, this will be finished long before the end of his term. Notice she didn't say, when you have projects, when you have construction projects, it's very easy to attach a date. We estimate, according to our contractor, that this will be finished by October of 2027, right? Or something like that. You could just put a date on it. She didn't put a date. She put an indefinite theoretical time tied to the end of his term in office.
Well, I wouldn't read
plausible deniability. You could say, she just meant 2028. She didn't mean when he surrenders his office, right? This is, again, these are games they are playing entirely on purpose. And
I don't know that I can see that deeply into that wording. That sounds pretty straightforward to me. However, it's going to be done before the end of his term. That sounds that I don't know. I think you're reading too much into that part. That being said, state of mind. Does he think he's staying? Does he think he might be able to find a way? I agree with that. I think he's gonna. I don't. I think you can. It's like an Occam's razor. Like, this is sort of an obvious one that Trump will try to figure out.
Yeah.
If there are people there saying, "Oh no, you can keep this going." Now,
why wouldn't
again? This is like, because it's just like the constitutionality of birthright citizenship. Mm-hmm. It is black and white in the Constitution. That doesn't mean Trump's not trying to challenge it. He is. So far, not successfully, because it's in black and white in the Constitution, just like his term limit. So I'm not saying I think he'll try.
Yeah. There's no such thing as black. This is what I want to disabuse people of. There is no such thing as black and white in the Constitution. The Constitution is there are two ways of looking at the Constitution. A, the Constitution is what 4 members of the Supreme Court say it is. Mm-hmm. Or B, the Constitution is what the guys with guns say it is. And this is just the realpolitik state of how the world works. And I'm sorry, like, to people who think that, like, it matters what the clause, where the comma is on the 14th subclause of the Third Amendment or something like that. That's very nice of you to, when you're in law school, talk about it and pretend. But in the real world, that's not how it works. And if 4 justices on the Supreme Court say that the Constitution mandates that Donald Trump stay in office for 7 years, then that's what will happen, unless the people with guns decide that he shouldn't. Like, that's just, I'm sorry.
So they need 5. Supreme Court justices.
Sorry, yes.
Number 1. And number 2, you won't get 5.
It's early. It's early in the morning, people.
I know. It is early. But here's the thing. I don't think I'm being naive to say that the bar for him achieving a third term, getting 5 Supreme Court justices to go for it, whatever. I am not bullish on the Supreme Court. I'm not bullish on the integrity of the Senate. There's much, and I am mostly in agreement with you that we are on a sliding scale that is starting to look pretty obvious in certain ways, like fascist countries. And so, or countries with dictators. I agree he's making moves. I still think it is too early to throw away the durability of the Constitution. And I won't let my cynicism go that far. Hey, JVL, can we talk about tariffs for just a little bit? Just because, today is August 1st. This is the day that we've all been waiting for. This is the day that the Trump tacoed originally after Liberation Day and the markets crashed. August 1 was when everything got kicked to. It's when we've all been anticipating the new tariffs are going to go into effect today. But last night, in a 11th hour executive order.
Someone make a run for the border? Live Moss? Did someone live Moss last night?
Of course, Trump just tacoing so hard. Boom. He gave nearly 70 U.S. trade. Yeah. He gave nearly 70 U.S. trading partners 7 days to negotiate deals or face new tariffs ranging from 15 to 41%. So we've got now another 7-day hiatus. Or it's not a hiatus. What would it be? Pause.
Window.
Grace period. And so, we're still doing this. But it's the uncertainty. It's the uncertainty that kills businesses. People sometimes, I think, they want to see the negative results of things like this quickly, right? And we saw the market drop when Trump did during Liberation Day. It did feel sort of like abrupt, like you immediately saw the market tank, high, long-term yields start to drop. I do want to say to people, though, the repercussions from a lot of this, they're going to take time to seep in. They're not shocks to the market as much as they shift long-term trends. And I think for people who are waiting for sort of the bottom to drop out because of these, that's not what's going to happen. It can be deleterious, but it will be over time.
Yeah. And, it's like taking out a series of load-bearing pillars in a large structure. Like when you knock down one of the pillars, like the structure wobbles for a minute, but then it settles, and until you cross over the tipping point at which the last load-bearing pillar that was helping support it all goes and everything collapses. And like what we're doing with academic research and, biomed research, and the people who are, the academics and researchers who are fleeing America and like going to go to China, go to Europe, go to Canada. What we saw a piece yesterday about doctors and nurses just going up to Canada to work instead. Canada recruiting real hard to bring doctors and nurses up there from America. Business, which realizes that it can't make capital investments here in this climate, or that businesses have to start currying favor with the regime the way they would if they were trying to build a pineapple processing plant in South America, like where they have to, hey, when we're working out our budget for the next fiscal year, we've got to put $150 million in for bribery because we're going to need to bribe people in the administration. Like, I mean, as corruption seeps in, because that's really what we're talking about, there's no going back. I guess that's what let's pretend we do go back. Let's pretend that 3.5 years from now, a Democrat is elected, and this Democrat is a normal person and not himself or herself a corrupt demagogue. Okay, so businesses can go back to making long-term plans like normal for up to 4 years. But then they understand that, well, if that Democrat is replaced by Don Jr. or JD Vance, we go back to this. You know what I'm saying? It's like businesses are put in the same situation that NATO is put in. And short-term businesses can maneuver, right? If your business is really never looking out more than 12 months or 6 months, you can maneuver within that sort of environment. But larger concerns have to think in longer time frames the way, say, NATO countries do, right? And NATO countries have realized we can't put our security at the whim of 40,000 voters in Wisconsin every 4 years. And big businesses are going to come to the same conclusions, right? They just can't make long decades, you're building an automotive factory that's going to work for 20 years and put out, you can't make those decisions based on the idea that like, well, things are okay for this 4-year period, but our cost structure might change for the 4 years after that, because if Republicans are in charge, then we have to start paying money to the president's anti-DEI fund or something,
Yeah. So I'm going to disagree with some of this, but I agree with the part where confidence, we no longer get the deference of confidence. Like America won't get it anymore. And not until it rebuilds trust over a lengthy period of time. Like enormous damage is being done to American credibility. I just won't use the term never, because I just think history doesn't bear that out.
Fair.
Like
Totally
over
fair.
time, I do think we can claw our way back from this. It is going to take leaders who name this level of corruption and help voters understand that they don't want it to be like this. And America doesn't do things this way. Donald Trump did it this way, and that was wrong. And I think that's tough. But like that has to be the future we're pushing for.
Yeah. Let me put a little more of a finer point on it. What it would take to rebuild confidence would be a normal Republican administration.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably
what
true,
it would take is it doesn't take a normal Democratic administration. That doesn't establish anything. That just establishes that when Democrats are in power in this current environment, America behaves more or less. You could say like, oh, they're too regulatory, they spend too much money, whatever, but more or less like a rational actor which adheres to the rule of law and doesn't try to shake down businesses. Okay. It would take a Republican administration that acted normally as well.
Yeah.
And what do you think the odds are in the foreseeable future of us getting a Republican administration that doesn't act this way? I mean, I think they're pretty low.
I'm not sure about that. I really do. I think, and this comes down to, I think that the Republican Party, JD Vance, whatever, they've been enormously corrupted by Donald Trump, and they are deeply culpable, right? This is not where I'm talking about the 23-year-old who's cutting Doge like that. There's accountability there, but I also feel like that is different than all of the people who have surrounded and enabled Trump. You do have to wipe them out, and this is where, and I'll tell you that I think we talked about this on the next level. When George W. Bush left office, he was at 32% approval rating, and that not only ended like his legacy, it completely fundamentally opened the door for the Republican Party to look radically different than it was.
Can we talk about Kamala Harris, my girl Kamala?
Yeah.
Because this week
What's she up to?
She made news this week. First, she said she's not going to run for governor of California.
Saw that.
Great. Thank you for announcing that you're not running for a job that nobody's asking you to run for. And second, she soft launched the preview of her book about her presidential campaign. I'm not going to say I'm a Kamala stan, because that's not true. I think she did a very credible job running for president. I think she saved a bunch of congressional seats in doing so. And I think America owes her a debt for her service.
Yeah.
I also think that if you are the person who loses to Donald Trump as he is in the process of assembling masked secret police and building presidential palaces and violating the Constitution and setting himself up to be some sort of quasi-soft authoritarian, you should not be writing a memoir about what it was like losing to him. And then like smiling while you hold it for your Instagram post about the book. I don't like that. This is like if Erwin Rommel at the close of the North Africa campaign had like decided to write a book about, hey, I just lost North Africa for us. I'm not comparing Kamala to the Nazis. Please don't. So take another example, right? Somebody somewhere who loses some very large and important and consequential battle, then being like, hey, I wrote a book about this. Here I am smiling on the cover of the book.
Yeah.
Let me tell you my story. Available on Amazon for $27.99. This reeks to me of, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And I don't want to like overstate it, because again, America owes Vice President Harris a debt, I think, for the way she stepped up and really did as good a job as anybody could possibly have asked while being disserved by Joe Biden and his coterie of people. So I'm not like ripping my hair out over this, but I don't like it.
Well, I think, can I tell you why I think you don't like it? And I think you're justified in not liking it, is that I think for us, I don't know about particularly us, but certainly people like us who take Donald Trump's threat to American democracy very seriously and think that the threat is catastrophic to the points we were just talking about. Even the your and my slight disagreements over the impact of this, whether it is irreversible or whether it is simply in a spiral that I'm hoping we can pull out of. Right?
Sure.
That's the difference between you and I.
And when I say irreversible, to be clear, what I mean is like for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
I don't mean for 1,000 years from now it'll be like this. I just mean that like we can't see a future from here at which point we could say, yes, there'll be an end. Like that future lies somewhere over the horizon.
That's so like we're in a wildly abnormal situation. And so when these politicians act like it's all just political beanbag, hey, I ran a race and then here's my book. And when this was one of my signature complaints about Joe Biden. Joe Biden talked about the existential threat to democracy, but he did not behave like the threat to democracy was existential. And I think that's what you see from Kamala Harris right now, where, look, I haven't read this book. I might even be kind of interested in the book because I do think I'm interested to know whether she was back there fighting for her and Tim Walz to be able to be unleashed and go out there and talk to everybody, whatever. Like I have my normal political instincts can have curiosity about that. But that's different from, I think, it changes how I think about Kamala Harris right now. Just like Joe Biden just got $10 million to write his like autobiography, which actually I don't want to read that one. I don't want to read it.
That cheeses me off pretty bad.
Yeah. Like this is it. Like, oh, is it all just normal politics to you? And like, hey, Kamala Harris, if you want to write a book about like what Democrats need to do going forward. Actually, no, don't even, because she's not credible on that. But like, I don't know. I told you so. Donald Trump is like destroying it. Like, be a voice fighting Donald Trump in this moment. That's what people want, right? Be somebody who exercises.
Be Timothy Snyder. Be Ann Applebaum.
Yeah.
Don't be a politician writing. And here I want to say, I haven't read the book. Nobody has read the book.
Sure.
And maybe it is not what we think it is, although it is being positioned as the kind of thing which is honestly is an attempt to write the historical record in such a way that the author wants, right? And so it's an attempt to correct the narrative or set the narrative or something like that, which is a very political kind of book. And maybe it's not that. Like maybe it is a on tyranny kind of book, which because that's the kind of book which I would be happy to have her write.
Yeah.
A sort of, hey, so these are the stakes. This is historically speaking how democracies push back against authoritarian attempts, right? I mean, there are things where it would be very powerful to have her voice saying them. Doing a very typical campaign memoir in which you're attempting to like hit back against the stories from Politico that you think were unfair because they were sourced by the people who you were fighting against or something like that. That is the kind of thing which, again, maybe it's not that, but it's being positioned as that.
Yeah. And it probably is that.
That
right. It's probably a little bit
crazy.
Of score settling, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when you were introducing the topic, I thought you were going to say, she's decided not to run for governor. And you said so that she can, and it was like, you said, write a book. And I was like, so she can run for president in 2028. I mean, the reason that when you said nobody was asking her, the reason people care about whether or not she's going to run for governor is, number one, she would probably win if she was the candidate for governor in California. Two, it takes her off the table. It shows that she does not have additional presidential ambitions. And I think there is a real anxiety from people who are like, she's got the highest name ID. She was the vice president. She got done dirty. But please, God, don't have her run again. what a catastrophe that would be. And it would be.
I think it would be bad for her.
Oh, it'd be awful.
And not it has nothing to do with her.
Yeah, not really.
Like, literally nothing to do with her. As I said, I think she put herself very well.
Yeah.
I just think that it has to be new. Right. Something, it has to be different and new, and it can't be whatever. Maybe I'm
not sure that anything has changed more for me over the last 3 years or so than my estimation for Joe Biden going down and my estimation for Kamala Harris going up. Because I think she comported herself extremely well. And I actually think a lot of the things that did her campaign in some ways were her strategist's fault. Were them just like not letting her go out and be herself, or like them not letting her be in lots of places, or was Joe Biden's fault instead of letting her during her 4 years as vice president shine and pick. I mean, look at what JD Vance is doing right now. JD Vance doesn't have like the worst portfolio in the world. Donald Trump's not giving him
his portfolio is going on podcasts,
and like defending Donald Trump so that he can be the heir apparent.
Yeah. I would say I don't know what, I mean, the problem for Kamala is that she's not 75. Like, she's still relatively young. And there's a question of like, okay, well, so then what is this very accomplished woman supposed to do with the rest of her life? And my answer to that, as unfair as it is that I'm sorry, but you have to be an older stateswoman now.
She could have been governor of California. That would have been a perfectly good thing for her to do.
Maybe. I don't know. I still think that's like taking up space that should be occupied by a rising generation. Of course, we'll probably wind up getting some 70-year-old as governor of California because that's the way gerontocracy works. But I don't know. I think her role really has to be like as one of the wise women, like somebody who sits around and like thinks deeply, but isn't in the spotlight, because that's just the way politics is shaken out. But maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Hey, do you want to talk very briefly about Hunter and Hunter's scorched earth interview?
Oh, did we ever talk about, did we not ever talk about that? We never did.
And I kind of want to talk about that. And
sure.
I definitely want to talk about Vegas. And I 100% want to talk about Sydney Sweeney.
I want to talk about Sydney Sweeney.
But we got to do that for the Bulwark Plus members. I'm sorry.
Guys, it's time to subscribe, okay? We believe that you can't save democracy from behind a paywall, which is why we make almost everything free. There's only a couple things that we do to say, hey, please come be with us. Please join us, right? Help us build this mission that we're on. And so to do that, you got to subscribe and you got to get your friends to subscribe. And then you can hear us talk about Vegas, Sydney Sweeney, and Hunter Biden.